Hi there, welcome back to another YouTube video. Today I am with Rory and
hello everyone.
Are off bassing.
Got a boat full of fuel.
Boat full of fuel. We've got a 655 UMS, which we're borrowing from the Wolf Rock for a while. Really excited to go out and try and find some big bass. Every time we try and do this, we don't catch any bass.
Well, it's a little while since I've done this actually with you. We haven't been out for a little bit, so nobody's going to make any predictions about how well or badly today is going to go.
All I'll say is every time we do this, in this bit, which you've never seen because these videos turn to nothing, one of us says we're really confident.
Today's going to be awesome. We're going to absolutely murder it, and then we end up going home with our tails between our legs.
So today,
and an empty cooler.
Today's going to be awful.
Yeah.
So we've got Rory, obviously Sam's on the camera, we're all going to have a fish. The plan for today is to take the boat out to a couple of the banks out of the east side of the Isle of Wight and try and find a few, hopefully very big bass. To be fair, we've had one session this year where we've had some really nice ones, but today we've got the cameras with us, we've got Sam with us, we're hoping for all of us to get a few bass on deck. Sam's got a very makeable PB, so fingers crossed towards the end of the day we can find that. And the plan now is to just head out into the open, stick the bow out and see if we can find some fish.
But I mean, look, it's a good day to be out. It's beautiful. Whatever happens.
It is just a wonderful way to spend the day. So
yeah, it really is.
Let's see, put the 655 through its paces. We've got a new 175 on the back that is now fully broken in, so that should be fun, even if we don't catch any fish. And let's go see if we can find
get it done.
A few birds and not get third-degree burns from the sunshine.
It's a good place to be.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see you guys in a bit.
See you later. Right, we have pulled up at the first bank. It's going to be officially the first drop of the day. So we're in about 25-30 metres of water here. So we're going to go with 90 grams to begin with and see how we go. Fingers crossed. You always think there's going to be one on the first drop, but there seldom is. We'll see.
So, as is always the way, we didn't in fact catch a bass on the first drop, but after fishing for another half hour or so, we saw some other fishing boats out on the water around us, which meant that we knew we were in the right area. So Adam and Rory carried on fishing, and it wasn't long until the first bass was on the rod.
So there we go, first fish of the day. We're just drifting a couple of banks at the moment, trying to find where they are, and as is often the way, the most obvious one is the one that's ended up having fish. We've been to 5 or 6 less obvious ones, and we found the one that comes up the shallowest. And lo and behold, right on top of it, there's a bite. So I'm not sure how big this fish is. It's definitely a bass. There it is. It's on a 125 gram fish minnow, and it's not the monster that we're after, but it is a bass. There you go. There is a beautiful sea bass, and that thing has taken a lure that's pretty much the same size as it. So we'll get this one back, see if we can find another. Right, so we've had not much success on the big banks.
It's been a pretty quiet start to the session so
it has,
far,
but
as predicted.
As we knew would happen. And we've just moved back to another bank that usually produces. And last time we were here, there was a load of birds on this state of tide. And as we were arriving, we said, there's probably not going to be any birds there this time. But if Sam turns around now, God, the bass are just going absolutely nuts over there.
There are a lot of fish here.
Just hammer a cast down there and see...
Gone to a slightly lighter setup. It's going to start off with this
I don't even think there's going to be much retrieving.
Sand eel pattern here.
Involved here.
But I actually, hopefully it won't really matter what we have on here.
There you go. Oh,
Well, that barely hit the water and it got hit.
look at them all going here. So yeah, we were just saying.
Fish on, and he's off.
We were just saying that the birds probably wouldn't be here again, and not only are they here,
There we go.
there's shed loads of them, and Rory's in straight away. Decent fish?
It was a good hit, but I don't think it's very big. In fact, I know it isn't. Always the most welcome fish. I think they'll probably get bigger than that, but for the moment, that's just that's a sight for sore eyes. Let's get that one back.
There's quite a few fish here.
Yeah.
It's just going to be the case of trying to find the bigger ones in this gargantuan shoal. It's very difficult to show you on the camera, but where those birds are, if you look at it, it almost looks like whitecaps. All of the bass just hitting the surface underneath the birds. And like I said, they're not massive fish, these ones, but somewhere amongst them,
But it's fun.
somewhere amongst them there will be a big one. Quick release. Yeah, we've just got to try and find one of those bigger ones. So I'm just using a little 25 gram, that's a drift shad, weedless one, just bouncing it around and seeing what we can find. Let's go.
Oh, that was epic. Just saw it just came up and engulf it.
So the guys carried on chasing the birds and catching a few more small bass while we waited for the tide to change. And when that tide did change, it was Rory who drew first blood into the first proper bass of the session.
Yep, that's a fish.
Good one.
Hard to tell. I mean, I think it's better than the ones we were catching over there.
Yeah.
But
That was a series of hits there.
it was.
Did you hope to that?
Did come back to it. It didn't want it.
Do you think that was the same fish?
Felt like it.
Yeah.
It felt like it just turned round on it a couple of times. Yeah.
Yes!
Redemption! Actually, the last time I came here, I lost a lot of lures and I shed many tears. However, this time, that's a pretty decent bass. So yeah, as I was saying, I had a pretty torrid time the last time we hit this mark. It can be a bit of a tackle graveyard out here, but we call that one redemption. 66 centimetres of pretty lean, beautiful silver fighting machine. Absolutely beautiful fish, that. And that's made my day. And I think there might be some more down there, so let's get this one back, see if we can find some more.
So pretty shortly after Rory's big bass, Adam was then hooked into one for himself. However, as you can see, the wind over tide had picked up pretty heavily, and this mark can be pretty hairy at the best of times. So it's a bit of a scrappy fight, a bit chaotic, but we did manage to get the bass into the net.
Right, so there we go. There's our second bass from this pretty leery mark. The water's getting up, the wind's a bit over tide. That is a 58 centimetre bass, and it gave us the right old run around. Rory moving us back off, kind of getting pulled along in the tide. It was a hell of a fight. What a wonderful fish.
Again, that was pretty hairy stuff. Right in at the bottom. It just got to the bottom. I was like, oh, I'm about to get snagged up here. It's
a wrasse.
It's a wrasse. I knew it wasn't as big. Right, that is not exactly what we came for. But a nice wrasse is always welcome. And that is a nice wrasse. Not huge, but nice all the same. We're going to get it back and see if we can find some of the bigger bass that are down there instead.
So after Rory's nice colourful wrasse, we had a couple more smaller bass to the boat, but it was clear that the wind was only picking up. So we made the call to head back in. We saw a couple of awesome little dolphins on the way back, which always feels like a privilege. And yeah, it's fair to say we put the 655 through its paces. As you can see, it was pretty lumpy bumpy out there, and we trekked back for an hour. I was not exactly loving it at the back, but that's life.
Right, as you can see, the wind was absolutely crazy towards the end. When it was wind over tide over that mark, it really does get pretty saucy, and it was one of those days where we just couldn't stay any longer. I'm pretty sure if we had stayed and it wasn't quite so windy, we definitely would have found some bigger fish as the tide progressed. But that's fishing. You've got to take the conditions that are in front of you and do what's safe, and unfortunately fishing was not that option. So we headed back into Chichester Harbour, put the boat back onto the trailer, put it back into storage, and that was the end of the bass day. So thanks very much for watching the film. Hope you've enjoyed it. We are currently down in the southwest, and tomorrow me and Sam are off with John Locker on Anglo Dawn out of Falmouth tomorrow to try and find both of our first ever blue sharks. So fingers crossed we find some, and if we do, there will be a video coming to the channel in the next week or so of us out and having an adventure trying to find those blue sharks. Obviously, if we don't catch any blue sharks, you'll never hear about it ever again. So hope you've enjoyed this film. Thanks very much for watching. As always, please like and subscribe. Hit that bell notification. There's going to be plenty more videos to come. We're off barbel fishing towards the end of the week as well. So fingers crossed we'll find some barbel. And again, you will see a barbel film if we find any. Speak to you guys in a bit. Thanks very much for watching.